Saucony owns the streets at dawn. Saucony keeps the pace with run crews. Saucony also moves through music festivals and strolls to neighborhood coffee shops. But Saucony is not just about where you go. It's also about who you're with, bringing you closer and connecting you to those who move like you do. Saucony, the original running brand built on heritage and innovation. Shop your local run and lifestyle retailer or at Saucony.com.
In DC, it's not always easy to save. But with unlimited welcome from Verizon, saving on your phone bill's never been easier, even if you're on a single line. For a limited time, single lines start at just $50 a month when you bring your own phone, with autopay plus taxes and fees. That's a savings of $15 a month. And when you switch now, you can save on the things you love, like Netflix and Max, all on the most awarded 5G network. Now that's savings all of DC can agree on. There's never been a better time to switch to the network America relies on. But this offer won't last long. Visit your local Verizon store to switch and save big today. $180 BYOD promo credit and $360 local promo credit applied over 36 months. For new customers with one new line with your own 4G or 5G phone on unlimited welcome plan required. Additional terms apply. Autopay and paper-free billing required. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. $10 a month for each MyPlan perk. Additional terms and conditions apply per perk.
Well, my 200th episode, would you believe it? So this episode, to honour that wonderful achievement of mine, and if I don't say so myself, I'm going to be talking to Kevin Eustace, my podcast, one of my podcast heroes, one of my influences, on his style and just his way he deals with things. He's from the Ghost Story. He's done the Ghost Story guys, but he's from the Dark Paranormal, and we need to talk about ghosts. So, happy Christmas. Hope everyone is enjoying themselves. I hope everyone is going to recover well. If you're going to have to work in the emergency industries, please do. I hope so. You get a rest, and I hope it isn't too stressful and horrible for you. If you are working, then plug this in, have a listen on your time. It might help the time pass quicker. Anyway, I'll hand it over to Kev from We Need to Talk About Ghosts, the Dark Paranormal, and special guests on the Ghost Story guys. So here we go. Take it away, Kev. So thank you for coming onto the show. Those that don't know you, this is Kev from We Need to Talk About Ghosts and Dark Paranormal. He is my podcast hero. So
don't say that. Bloody
no,
hell.
you are. The reason I've got you on for my 200th episode, by the way, is because.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's because that when I first started listening to podcasts, so maybe 5 years ago. I mean, how long have you been doing your show? It must be 5 years.
7 on We Need to Talk About Ghosts and 4 on the Dark Paranormal.
Right. So I would have come into about a year into your We Need to Talk About Ghosts. So about 6 years ago, I'd say.
Yeah.
And I'd listened to you on the bus because I was looking for. My daughter is really into the paranormal, like myself, and I was looking for something that was. I don't like, and don't get me wrong here. I don't like really flashy shows.
Yeah,
I like conversational shows.
Yeah,
and that's why I got your one came right to me. It was like I was on the bus, I searching through Spotify. Boom, you popped up. I thought, I'll give that a go, and I could not put you down from the moment I started listening to the time that I was like, I binge listened
until the time you went shit.
Yeah, no, until I had some issues. But yeah, apart from that, I was like constantly listening. And during lockdown, my daughter said, "Why don't you do a podcast?" I was like, "Who's going to listen to me? Right? Who's going to listen to me about what?" And she goes, "Oh, you encyclopedic about music." I said, "Oh, all right, I'll do it." And I thought, what would Kev do? And I just went and got a cheap mic, plugged it into. I remember buying the mic; it wouldn't work because it wouldn't have fit my Apple off Amazon, and we were in lockdown, so I couldn't go and get bits. So I had to wait another week for this adapter to come. That sounded like shit. So then I went and got the Behringer. That made it sound better.
Yeah.
And so I'm always a bit embarrassed at my first few episodes. I go, listen to my show, but not the first 3 or 4.
Everyone is. There's the amount of podcasts you listen to where they say, if you listen to episode 1, they say they've literally put something in that says, we suggest you start from episode 10, like at the start. You know what I mean? Because
I say it all the time. And please, people go, listen to your show, not number 1.
I mean, arguably, I would genuinely say the first show, I'm the opposite. I start off great, and then it rapidly declines to where there's no order. It's just like, yeah, okay,
Because the way I looked at it is that I remember emailing you about what program you used. So I use Reaper. Do you still use Reaper?
I still use Reaper now, yeah.
I love it. It's so easy. It's
so easy. And
so easy.
The background noise removal on it is free. Well, you can pay, but it's also free, and it's second to none. Like literally, I've got Logic there for recording music, and the only almost similar thing they've got is in the legacy version of GarageBand that you kind of can pull up through a back door, but it's not compared to the one on Reaper.
Yeah, because I said my friend who wrote my music formula for the show is a musician in Sydney, and he took me through a full hour and a half Skype call on how to get all of Reaper to work perfectly. Like he got all of the gates, the noise, the everything, and the difference between my first episode where it's all to clean as is just crazy. Like it's like and I feel I mean, I don't want to blow smoke up you, but you do an amazing job for what you do. You really, really do.
Oh, thank you.
And what I love about yours is, and the reason I want to emulate you a bit is your community. You've got such a really big community. How did you find growing that? Was it for other people that might want to do a podcast? Did you find it difficult?
Do you mean in terms of like the listeners?
Yeah, and the feedback and the talk.
Oh yeah, well to be honest, the two very different shows, as you know. It's so like the We Need to Talk About Ghosts is what you're hearing now. It's me. That's me. It probably turned up to 11, let's say.
Yeah, I love it.
And it kind of has to be, and that was it. And that can be a bit, when you're not in the mood to do that, it can be kind of tough. But it can also be a bit of a help, if you're feeling a bit down, to force yourself in that 11, sort of fake it till you make it, and by the time you finish the episode you kind of feel all right because
I know the feeling.
You've laughed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the Dark Paranormal is very different because that's like a serious dramatization of someone's paranormal experience they've sent through. So there's two very different. Like it's weird because the Dark Paranormal allows me to do it as a living, and it dwarfs the listenership of We Need to Talk About Ghosts. But the We Need to Talk About Ghost fans are like fanatical in a lovely way. Do you know what I mean? Like they like I think within the first 2 years, like we'd received about like 12 gifts. People, and Becca, my partner at the time, was flipping because like something came through the post from like America, and it was 2 painted stones, one with me on and the show logo.
I remember you talking about that. Yeah,
one with the neighbour's cat from a lovely person called Jessamy. And Becca though was like, "How have they got our address though?" And I was like, "'Cause I give it to them." And he was like, "Some random person you've never met asked for our address and you give it to them." And I was like,
"Give a post box."
And as I'm saying, I'm thinking I've given it out to 12 other people, sort of thing. So these things kept arriving. She was like, but lovely stuff like paintings, drawings, all this. Yeah. And for the Dark Paranormal, literally 20 times the listenership. No one sent me a fucking thing. Okay. But
isn't it funny?
Yeah, but I'm all right with that, like, to be honest, because if they did, by the same sort of percentage, I'd have to buy a garage. Yeah, and get a bit weird.
How do you cope like with negative like reviews and stuff? Does it get to you?
Yeah, it does. To the point where I don't read reviews. Genuinely, it's like I used to be really besotted with them, and I used to be besotted with download numbers and stuff like that. I don't check either now, and the reason being is the sheer anxiety that you get when you notice a dip or when you notice anything like that. And obviously for your listeners, they'll be aware of Patreon if they listen to podcasts and stuff. And there's a known thing which I didn't know about, and it gave me a friggin' heart attack because I just left my full-time job to go part-time when the show started to take off. And let's say, for argument's sake, it was £1,000 a month that was coming through on Patreon.
Yeah.
And it did, and I went, brilliant. And I think 2 days after, for some reason, I thought, I'll just check to see where it is. And it's shown £800. And I was like, that's what you're getting per month. And I was like, and my heart dropped, and I thought, what's happened? Why have I lost £200 worth of listeners? Because obviously that's not 200 listeners. That's, X amount of £4 or £5 or whatever.
Yeah.
And it turns out there's a phenomenon even, that Patreon know about, and there's an article about it, where if a card fails, they'll keep retrying it. But when it does fail, it knocks off your balance. So if I would have looked at that figure 2 weeks in, it would have been back to £1,000.
Oh,
so
I did not know that.
No, so never check your Patreon the day after you've drew it, because you will find it took a dip. It's literally known as the dip.
Well, I've only just put Patreon on, so I don't. I've had it for a month. So
okay, well there you go. Well, when it starts to roll in, then you'll know never to check. But comment wise, I feel bad because there are lovely people who leave lovely comments.
Yes.
But you'll read 30 lovely ones and that one idiot, and they will be an idiot, because when I'm saying that, I mean, I just find it phenomenal that someone could have the time to listen to something for free, take the time to sign up to somewhere to leave a review on a free thing. Don't listen. Could you imagine going into a shop that you don't like and waiting in line to get to the front to say, I hate this shop?
Yeah.
You wouldn't do it.
No.
But why? And everyone's a big man on the internet as well, aren't they? So
yeah,
it's I just, for the sake of my mental health, I don't read reviews. And if anything, if I'm going through emails and if something starts saying, I will never listen again, because I just go delete. Because if you're not, why are you telling me you're not going to listen again?
Yeah.
Because if through the rest of your email, you explain what you think I need to change, if you're not going to listen again, why would I change it?
What was that? So I had one or two. One I reacted to very badly, and I sort of regret that I did, because Phoebe's got on my lap during one recording, and she was purring. And I don't edit, right? So she sat on my lap. I'm talking to her. I'm chatting away and purring. I said, "Can you hear her purr as a bell?" Phoebe's has joined me, and jumps off. And then he sends us a message going, "We don't give a fuck about your cat." I went, "What?" I said, "Pardon, what?" And then the same guy said, "Stop drinking and eating on your podcast." And all I do is I go away from the mic.
Yeah.
And I come back, right? So
he's telling you what to do on your podcast?
Yeah. Right, so I had his name, and in the next episode, I outed him. I said, "Listen, mate, this is, bloody ridiculous." Yeah. And he's like,
I mean, to be honest, I went to bite back once at some guy because he joined the Facebook Society thing and left a really idiot comment and again, why would you bother to do this? Does anyone else think this show's going downhill, or something like that? And why would you join someone's fan group, of a very small show at the time? This is before the Dark Paranormal. And leave a comment like that. You're only going to cause issues, so he deleted it. And then he sent an inbox saying, "Why did you delete the message?" And I went to go to town on him, and Becca wrote a really lovely response, saying, because she's very calm, she's we just thought that your thing could have caused, some sort of dissension within what we want to be a nice community, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to ban you or anything like that, but we have deleted the post. And he went, "Okay, thanks for the explanation." Then went on, because I thought, who is this fella? So I went on his Instagram, and he posted something like, "When you've spent all your day pissing off snowflake scousers," and then some. The reason was I done a Scottish. I had the audacity to read out a Scottish ghost story in a Scottish accent, and he took umbrage to that, and was like, "You wouldn't like if someone done a Scouse accent." I was like, "Mate, how many times do you think somebody does my accent per year?"
Yeah,
who isn't Scouse? Exactly. It's like if you take offense from somebody trying to do your accent, you've got an issue, mate, because it's not an offense. You know, there's nothing offensive about it. Unless there's malice involved, and there wasn't. I was reading a ghost story. Do you know what I mean? If I was saying something really offensive about Scottish people, which I obviously never would,
No.
I was reading all right, maybe the accent was pretty crap because I'm not good at accents, but that aside, just back off. But then he went to town as an Instagram, like a little thingy, you know, calm down.
Oh.
She is a tart, and all these quotes from Bread, like a sitcom from the 80s.
I love Bread. I used to love Bread.
I love Bread, yeah. And I'm reading them and I'm thinking, and part of me is thinking, I just want to send him a message that says, listen, stop this. Here's my address, or give me yours. Let's have a chat. And Becca was like, you need to just not be like this. And I said, and from that point on, I thought, you know what? I'm not giving any, pardon the French, shy talk.
No, that's all right. You can
the time of day, because it's, the thing is, like I say, you know, if I was stood outside his house with a megaphone, you come outside and punch me in the face, call me what you want, because I shouldn't be there. If you're going and finding a show that's free and you listen to it and you don't like it, or you don't like something about it,
keep on.
Go, walk away.
Yeah, walk away.
Press stop. But, I mean, everyone now thinks they're a critic. It's like there was getting swerving back into the music side of things. There was I won't name the guy, but anyone who's from Liverpool will know the person I'm talking about. But for a good decade, there was an individual who wrote for the Liverpool Echo, regarding the local music scene,
right? And
he basically killed the local music scene in a decade. And I'm being deadly serious. It was all, he wanted to be the next John Peel, basically. So he was only like upping and pushing bands that were like avant-garde, you know, these guys blow through exhaust pipes to get tunes, and they're amazing, and you know, and all stuff like this. And it was like to the point. Here's the point, right? Genuinely, there was a really famous bar called the Lomax in Liverpool. Like Oasis played there, Muse played there. I think Muse played there. But anyway, a load of, you know,
the big names
back in the day, big names played there when they were starting out. And a friend of mine, became a friend of mine because I was gigging in there occasionally, took it over and reopened it as the Lomax. And Catfish and the Bottlemen played there before they went massive in the UK. And the main music gig man writer for the Liverpool Echo, didn't review the gig because because to him the Lomax was too down, you know, it was seedy, it was too but it was like he didn't like it because it was a place that played guitar bands that, like, you know, the owner, Frank, who was one of the only people who tried to put some blood back into the scene, was genuinely, like, he'd let anyone get up. You know, if somebody said, I've got a band, he wouldn't, like most places like the Zanzibar and really like more famous clubs in Liverpool, if you like.
They vet you, right?
Yeah, and they're like, you need to sell 40 tickets before you can play, you know, that sort of stuff. Then anything on top of that is yours, sort of thing. Whereas Frank would be like, he'd take a hit, he'd be like, right, it was £5 today, but on the night he'd just make a call, no, it's free entry, because, you know, he's like, 3 bands could say we couldn't get anyone because they're all starting out, and he'd say, well, we'll waive the door fee, and he'd just take the hit. Exactly, he was literally, and he got no exposure, and he was given a dog's life, to be honest, and now that bar's shut, and it's turned into residential flats now.
Of course it has.
Yeah, exactly, and it's all down to this one bell end of a fella who literally wanted to do his own agenda over the good of. That's why there's no decent music come out of Liverpool in the last decade, and it should. Before that, as you know, it was, and I'm not just talking about the Beatles. You know,
it was thriving.
Even right up to probably arguably Cast were the last big band that came out, and then from there on in, the Cast and Space were around the same era.
Oh God, Space, yes.
Yeah. And then after that, nothing.
Yeah,
and that's because of him.
Yeah,
you know,
it's crazy.
Yeah, because the influence he had was like almost like for example, he was one of the people who could put people forward for BBC Introducing or Glastonbury or stuff like that. And everyone that he put on were all these lads who were not Liverpoolians, not Scousers. They weren't from this city. What everyone was crying out for is, and still is crying out for, is 3 or 4 lads or girls who get together in a garage, bang out some music with guitars, get angry and go and play in a gig. And that's what everyone in Liverpool wanted to see, but no one was seeing it because no one was anyone who was trying that was getting shoved down.
Yeah.
And everyone who come along with a synthesizer and a top button done up, and name was Tarquin, and they come from Chelsea to go to Liverpool to slum it for a bit, were his best mate. And it was a dire decade, and he gutted the city of its music. He really did. And it's hopefully now, he
you might bring it back. You might bring it back, Kev. You might bring it back.
Mel, you never know.
I mean, yeah, go on, Karen.
No, I was just going to say, I've always I'm like the residential flat part about the Lomax. I think that was the plans for it. I don't know whether it is as of yet, but I know that was the plans for it. But part of me it has got one eye on reopening the Lomax.
Why not, man?
But not necessarily that where it is, but find somewhere else.
Yeah.
And do something else, but under the banner of the Lomax.
Do you know what?
Because it was
a great idea. Because it means something to you, it means people something to the city, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was huge. I mean, I played there when I was first played there when I was 17, and then it shut. We had a band. We supported we were a grunge band.
Yeah.
When we were about 18, and we supported a metal band called Deadline, and they were getting supported by another band called Mephisto Waltz, and then we were on first, and it was sold out, and it was insane to be like 18 in a proper like sweaty. You could still smoke at the time in pubs, so it was amazing. It had the best night ever, and then it shut down and it got turned into something else, and then Frank reopened it, and then
it's horrible. It's horrible, man. I had an experience. I went back to visit my dad last year before he passed away, and I went to go and do some sightseeing. I haven't been back in London for 15 years. And I thought, okay, go. And I went. I thought the Astoria. I mean, I used to go to the Astoria. I took my then girlfriend, now wife, to see the Damned and all sorts of bands at the Astoria, and it's gone. It's just this sort of horrible modernist building. There's not even a plaque. You know what I mean? You go look for the marquee. You go look for the marquee where there's no plaque. He's like, what the fuck is? I was so like, I did a TikTok video of it. I was so pissed off. I was like, right, I'm going to say this because clearly there's no cult music is such a. You know this because you're a musician. I'm a sort of a try-hard musician, right? But
you're a musician, mate. If anyone who does it, does it.
But the thing about it is that, you could have great literature and they'll leave a plaque. You'll have someone who invented a bomb. There's a plaque. Yeah. Right? But it seems that music is so forgettable. Like Carnaby Street, there's no plaques in Carnaby. It's just they don't care.
No.
Dean Street, where all the guitar don't care. Like the Pistols first practiced in Dean Street. Like no plaque. Yeah. Right. And it's like
no, I know exactly what you mean. Like me and Becca last year, well, it was 13 months ago it was. We were in New York, and I wanted to go and see where Unplugged in New York, Nirvana, was filmed. Found the fucking place, and it's a pharmacy. Yep. There's not a plaque. There's not anything. And I was like, how is this not? I assumed genuinely there would be like at the stage that would be set up. You'd buy a £5 ticket or whatever, a $5 ticket. You'd go and you'd be able to walk around. It's a freaking pharmacy. I still got my photo took outside it, but
same here. And when I was in New York, the CBGBs had closed when I was there. Yeah. And the Chelsea building, like you couldn't get. It looked nothing like it. But I tell you, I had this idea, right? Say something like the Marquee, or say the Lomax. Say the Lomax had lots and lots of bands that had played there that have been videoed, right?
Yeah.
Imagine this: you open it up as an attraction. Every week is a different band, right? Every night, and all you do is you pay your entry fee. You sit down in seats and you watch on a big screen a replica of the live act that was there that night.
Great idea, yeah.
Good idea, right? Then you've got live music still, but it's old live music. It's keeping it alive. It wasn't even that expensive to run. You just need a bloody big looking projector and a load of seats and a small bar, maybe, you know?
Well, that was, I mean, you kind of described what they used to do, the way the Lomax worked. It was with tiny, they had a cellar bar and they had the main stage upstairs. So there was no ground floor at all, because when you went through the door, there was either stairs downstairs or stairs upstairs. And the upstairs was the main stage and downstairs was the cellar bar. But in the cellar bar, they had screens up of what was going on the stage.
Brilliant, mate.
And speakers coming through. So if it was too busy upstairs, you could go down and be quiet and watch what was going on. It was just perfect.
Oh, man.
Beautiful little setup.
Yeah, there's my favourite venue in all the world is here in Canberra, called the Basement. It's called the Baso now. I know the owners really well. I've been going there for 20 years. And what I love about it is it's tiny. It holds probably about 700 max. It had, up till recently, a sticky floor. You know that you go in and I was in there recently and they taken the floor up, and I went up to Nick and I said, "Where's the dank gone? You've got rid of the dank." It was like, what, the sticky floor? And it's like low level stage. It's sort of you're up there with the musicians. Like big bands come, you lean over and touch their guitars. You talk to them. It's real rock and roll. It's not stadium. You know, I went and saw McCartney recently, and it was wonderful. But it's like,
well, I mean, that's the one talking about that specific individual. I mean, like, we're very lucky here that when he does his tour, and it's normally around Christmas, he always does the arena. And I worked at the arena for 10 years as the box office manager, so I got to see his. Every time he'd play, I'd go in and see his sound check.
Lucky bastard.
And so there's me and about 12 people and McCartney's band, and I'd be pretending to count the seats or something stupid, I'm working. And he'd go through, honestly, he'd start about 3 and he'd go through about 30 songs, and not one of those songs would be played that night. And it was just unbelievable, honestly. But also, it's only a 10,000 seater, and he doesn't play 10,000 seaters. He plays.
No, he does not.
250,000 seaters. And he literally does it because it's Liverpool. Like,
it's
so
his hometown.
So when I said, like, when my mates have said, and I work there, can you get me a ticket? I've said, yeah, but it's back row. They went, oh, I don't want it. I went, mate, I said, back row in the arena is like middle tier at the MEN. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's how you're still going to be closer than you ever will be to Paul
I could barely
McCartney.
see him. I needed a massive screen, so we were at the side of this big arena. He did 3.5 hours, no break. And he's 80, exactly. 80 years old or something.
God, he's older than that, yeah.
Is he?
Well,
it's like, look amazing.
The last time he played when I was working there, he decided last minute he was doing a gig in the Cavern. And I had the opportunity to go, but then it wasn't kind of deemed right in terms of ethically, because I was managing the team that was trying to get rid of these tickets, and you can imagine the swarm, and I was the one person in charge of them, so for me to go would have been it's a bit abandon the ship. But I was devastated. And also, but one thing which was cool is that McCartney's got this thing apparently that he always has to have, for every gig that he does, the number 1 ticket. So when you print your tickets, you've got 0001, 0002. He always has to have 0001. So
how cool is that?
When we first done the Cavern tickets, because we were doing the Cavern tickets, we got I think there was 150 maybe, and they were sat on my desk. And then last minute they went, they said they're going to go with some printer who's going to try and do some replica 60s tickets instead. So I went, okay, I'm going to have that number 1 ticket then. So therefore, the only other person in the world that owns a Paul McCartney ticket, that's number 1, is me.
Cool.
So I had it, and I was like, get in. This is me. Well, I did, but then I give it to Chris Jericho because I was trying to suck up to him.
Oh no, that's good, really, I suppose.
Yeah, it got me on this podcast about 5 times, so I was like, so it was worthwhile. It was a good trade-off. But yeah, but I don't think he got I was like, you don't realize how important this is. I was like, Paul McCartney's got every ticket that's got 01 next to it, except this. Chris Jericho, it's yours. And he was like, no way, man, this is amazing. Oh man, blah, blah, blah. It was like, and he was dead cool about it. And then, funny enough, we done a Beatles podcast. Me, Chris Jericho, and Charles Benante. Charlie Benante from Anthrax.
Yeah.
And
I know. Yeah.
we started, well, I'm sure you do, yeah. And it was dead weird because I didn't know Charlie Benante was going to be on it until we started. And then he went, are you okay if Charlie Benante joins? And I was like, yeah. And we started talking about Liverpool at the start of it. And the very first, obviously, I don't even have to say now. And I don't care, Tony, but you say what are Scousers allegedly renowned for. I won't take offence.
Talking. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Naughtier than that.
Swearing.
Well, it was thieving I was looking for.
Oh,
thieving was the answer I was looking for.
I wasn't going there, but
yeah. Well, anyway, within 10 minutes of talking to Jericho and Charlie Benante, they both had a story about playing in Liverpool and having gear nicked. And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. And I was like, I said, I can only say I'm sorry on behalf of the city. And then Jericho was like, I got mine back. And Charlie was like, oh, I didn't. But it was weird. But what was interesting was both of them said growing up, because obviously growing up, like I'm a grungehead. So growing up, I saw Seattle as, that's the home of what I'm into, sort of thing. Yeah. And they both said Liverpool was for them in terms of huge Beatles fans. Yeah. And it was weird thinking, when you're in that city, we're a bit blind to it. I mean, I'm a huge Beatles fan. You get people in Liverpool who say, oh, I hate the Beatles, but then and it's like, shut up.
Yeah, but you don't listen to pop music then, because there wouldn't be any otherwise, mate.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And even don't listen to the first bit of feedback's on the start of I Feel Fine.
Yeah, we go.
I mean, it's and like you tell me a heavier song than Helter Skelter. It's like I know, if you look at, like, I'm sure there was some mad stat that there was like there's a longer distance between the Black Album and the second release than the whole Beatles career.
Yep.
The Beatles career could fit between those two releases or something like that.
It's crazy. They were putting out it once a year. Amazing.
Yeah. And think about what they started off in suits and they ended up in the hippie stage. Yeah. No one's doing that anymore. No. I love Metallica. That period where you had that year of like Nevermind, 10, Black Album, both Use Your Illusions, when all of that happened, that was like a holy year. That should never have happened. That's like stars aligning that year. Yeah. But at the same time, all those bands, even now, like 30 years on, they're still the same band.
Yeah, they are. They don't evolve.
Exactly. In 7 years, if you look at the Beatles, when they ended to when they started, it's two different groups.
But I've said that often. And I think it's the death of youth culture. When we were kids, I'm 52. When we were kids, man, you had defined youth culture. You had skinheads, punks, rastas, hip hop. I mean, I remember my area was big into early hip hop. Grandmaster Flash, African Bombata, all that stuff. Beastie Boys, and then they all those cultures used to intermingle, and they would change. They would like punk become ska become this, and this. Yeah. But it seems to me these days that it's so bland. It's so bland. It's so bland that, and music, we're going backwards. I mean, we are going backwards musically, and I think that's one of the reasons why you don't have that growth. Yeah. Because the Beatles were at the point of that where we were coming from the post-war into money in the 60s and then into the drugs of the late 60s to early 70s. I mean, it was just a very creative time. I don't think this days and age it's that creative, to be honest.
No, I don't. And also, I think then, obviously, because of the technology we've got now, any dickhead with a brain can just press, you can go on, probably AI can write a song, we've seen it happen, do you know what I mean? But any dickhead can just press play in a tape and sing over that and say, I've wrote that. Oh, did you? Yeah. Back then you had to be able to do something, you had to be able to play something.
Oh yes.
And that's why that's why you got such great music, because because I at one stage when it was like between me 16 and 18, I think, just 2 years, but I was heavily into the Beatles. Only Nirvana and the Beatles I listened to. And for those 2 years, and because I was down into the Beatles, I was reading everything on them, and it was like you realised how much these not plagiarised, but they took off other people. So like, Here Comes the Sun King was after listening to Peter Green's Albatross.
Oh, and I love
You
that
know-
track Albatross. Oh, my
Exactly.
God.
And this is what I mean. It's like that, and so that was them trying to copy that. And obviously, Hide Your Love Away, I think, was Lennon trying to be Dylan. And, there's all these sort of influences were influencing each other and and creating amazing music at the same time.
Yeah.
And you don't have that now. You've just got
No.
X featuring Y, Y featuring X.
I say often that every great band has its Sgt. Pepper moment, right?
Yeah.
Every great band has its Sgt. Pepper moment. And I don't know these days. Like, I review a lot of music, Kev. I listen to, I think I was the second highest in the country and this side of the world for Spotify listening last year on the listing.
Wow.
If it's not on, it's not on in my ears, right? It just keeps playing.
Yeah.
And there's something, it just becomes monotonal. Like, I like experimental music. I do. I love prog and I love like all of that jazz. I like blues. You name it, I listen to everything really. As long as it's not hardcore rap, I'm all right. I can't do that sort of stuff. But it does become just because they're using all these digital plugins.
Yeah.
So in the old days you had to, like, I was reading a book about Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, where they wanted an echo sound, so they put a handle of a broom into the tape, and took it to the other side of the room while it was playing. So by the time it cut back, it echoed for that distance. Like, these people, that's inventive.
That's creative.
It's creative. But if you've got something, you just go, oh yeah, now it's going to echo. That's perfect. We'll just I get it. I mean, I use the digital effects every now and again. I understand.
Oh yeah, I mean, you've kind of got to, though. You've got to use what you've got. And it's cheaper now for us to buy
plugins, man. Yeah.
A plugin and do it, rather than go and buy a reverb pedal and an amp and do it all.
But sometimes when you see a band live, and I go to a lot of live gigs, you look over their pedal board and you go, oh.
Yeah. But you know what? In all my life, I mean, I was in a band for about 10 years, and we weren't heavy, but it was more like if Stone Temple Pilots are, say, a 7 on the grunge-ometer, we were a 6.
Right.
So it was still semi-heavy in parts.
Sort of not a whole pilot sort of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of melodic, but still angry when needs be. But in all those years, I've only ever seen one person know how to use an actual pedal board, in terms of like, the little blue wires where that plugs into that, and I know how to, and it was our bassist. He's like he's a genius, and he's an amazing bass player. Like, he's a session bassist now, but he's phenomenal. He's a phenomenal, and he turned up. One of the lads actually had a pedal board, and when we hired this guy to join the band, he looked at his pedal board and went, how are you using that? And he was like, oh, I only use 2 pedals. And he like bent down, switched around 5 things, and like 5 lights came on, and the lad's eyes lit up. He was like, I didn't know you could do that. And he was like, why are you buying it then, you dickhead?
I know, and that's all, because I play bass. All I have is I'll have a bit of fuzz if I want it, or a bit of bass wah, but just usually straight into the amp, right, for bass. I don't pick, because I can't. I cannot pick a bass in my life. I just sound like I'll just replicate pick songs with my fingers, because I just can't do it. It doesn't feel natural.
Well, I mean, that's what I don't use a pick when I'm playing guitar, but I use a pick for the bass.
Yeah.
So
probably, I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I bought one of the things I did buy myself as a treat. I wanted and I'm still on the lookout for one that isn't over a 1,500 quid. But I wanted to get all the Beatles guitars. So I got the Hofner bass. I got the Epiphone Casino.
Yeah.
But I want a Rickenbacker, and I also want the Gretsch that
Ricky's
George had as well.
Oh.
But I can't find a Rickenbacker that's under 1,500 quid to save me life.
Let me tell you a funny story about Ricky, right? Okay, so I used to play, when I lived in the UK, good friend of mine, I had 2 mates called Melvin, right? One was Crazy Melvin, but he did things that were really crazy.
I was going to say, how did you get that then?
I had to call him Crazy Melvin because there was 2 Melvins, and there was Ordinary Melvin, right? Nice Melvin. One my wife liked, one I didn't. Anyway, I mean, Crazy Melvin got me almost nicked. He was a Satanist. He used to chuck stones at coppers and stuff, and then run away, and I'd be standing here, and I'm on my own, and coppers are pulled up, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I was dressed as a punk, so I was like, straight in the back of the paddy wagon, right?
Clearly you, yeah.
Fucking hell. Anyway, good Melvin, he bought this secondhand car. And Mel is a brilliant musician. Like he is, and his daughter is wonderful. She's such an intelligent, both of his children are. But he's a drummer and guitarist and songwriter. And we drove to the other side of England for him to do a Beatles interview, like a tribute band tryout. They wanted him, they loved him, but now I don't like you. And we drove all the way back. He's just like one of those people. But he bought this secondhand car, and what was in the boot? A Rookie.
No way.
Yeah, worth more than the bloody car. I played it. It was one of the, it was orange and white. It was just, and it had the bridge cover on it. Heavy as all shit, man. But that thing, you know, I could barely get my hand around it. I've only got small hands. I'm like, fucking no. It was just beautiful, right? But I had the opportunity. I kicked myself, Kev.
Yeah.
I was in Sydney at a festival. I met at a mate's place, and he's a brilliant guitarist. Like he can hear, he's got pitch perfect note. You know, he just knows what. Like when Gary Moore died, and he knew I was really upset, he wrote, he played note for note for me over the phone, Parisian Walkway.
Amazing.
And I was like, oh, I'm gonna cry. And then when Peter Green died, he did the same thing. Albatross.
Oh, mate, I'm the Peter Green is.
He's the greatest.
One of my literally, like, if you look on my Facebook, 3 days ago I'd done a version of Need Your Love So Bad. Just like not with the solos, just acoustic. And
well, I went and did you see the film? The live the tribute concert.
The Splinter Group one?
No, it was the one with what's his name from it was Mick Fleetwood's one. Did you see that with?
Oh no.
So they released it, and we could go to the movies to see it. Well, two good reasons there. I broke a crown eating popcorn watching that, which is hilarious. But I was watching it, and I was waiting for Gary Moore's, you know, gold top, his gold top to come on. You know, like, not gold top. His the famous 57, the one that Green gave him is now owned by Kirk Hammett, and it can't leave England, so it has to stay in England. It has to be by the same. It was part of the will. Of Gary Moore when he sold it. It cost over 1.5 million, I think it was. And oh God, I like Kirk Hammett, but he does not play that guitar well. He came on, and I was really excited to see this guitar being played, right?
Yeah.
And you know, there's Roger Waters Gilmore doing his bit, and when comes Kirk Hammett, and I just went, oh God, he's fucked it. It's just awful. He had no soul to it.
Really?
There was no soul.
What was he playing? What did he have him doing?
I can't remember. It was just like
that must be on YouTube, I'd imagine.
It's on YouTube.
I need to check that out.
It was. I don't know if it was just me. And Kirk's an amazing guitarist, right?
Yeah, obviously.
But he just did not. I would have given that to someone like. I would have given that guitar to someone like. I don't know who'd be the equivalent of it now, but probably Bonamassa or someone like that. He'd give it the blues, but Kirk couldn't. It felt.
Kirk's more well. In Metallica, he's natural, isn't he? You don't know him other than
that's exactly right. And you don't really hear him. So, he's just there. Yeah. He's doing his bit, right? But that's when he was on the stage. I think it might have been either partly he was nervous. I mean, rightly so, I'd imagine. Playing the most recognizable guitar in the world at the Royal Albert Hall, like I get you. But anyway, I digress. I went to this festival. And my mate goes to me, there's a guitar shop closing down the road. Bass guitar shop. Should we go and look bass guitar? So I went, yeah, why not? Should we go? And then all these things, they had like replicas of Prince's bass, the one with the hair, and they had the Hofner bass. And they wanted $200. And did I buy it? No. Did I say, I'll go tomorrow? Mate. I'll go tomorrow. And I went there, gone. And look, here's what I'm pissed off. I was like,
mate, you know what? You'd slap me in the face if you could see because I'm living in my dad's now downstairs. Well, up here's me acoustic, so there's 5 acoustics here now that I'm looking at. And I don't need it. Well, you need 1 acoustic, don't you?
No, you need 5. No, you need 5.
Oh, yeah, you need 5. yeah. And downstairs and on the floor beneath me in the back bedroom, and they're all covered in dust because I've been too busy doing everything else. I've got the Hofner bass, the Epiphone. I've bought Jerry Cantrell released a ruby wine coloured Gibson, sort of.
Oh.
And it's not a Gibson, obviously, but it's
it's a Gibson.
it's
But yeah.
yeah, but it's a I think it's an Epiphone, I'm not sure, but either way, it was it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, and it's like a Jerry Cantrell signature sort of thing, and it's gorgeous. And then I bought I wanted the Jagster.
Yeah.
Again, you're looking 1,200 quid plus, so I got a really good copy version, which was only about 150 quid. I haven't even played it, but again, that's out there covered in dust, and behind that's a 12-string Tanglewood, which is lovely. Acoustic again.
Yeah.
And it's and they're all lined up, about 6 of them, 7 of them, all covered in dust, and I'm terrified to try and clean them because I'm vain as fuck. And I spray my hair with such high-spent hairspray, and I've been doing so daily since May over these guitars.
Oh no, it's all stuck on.
Yeah, I'm terrified to try because I know it's not going to work.
A little tiny bit of a very weak meth will be fine. That'll get it off, mate.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah, it
won't damage it. I had this one guitar that was given to me. I've got loads of guitars, but one was given to me years ago, and it's my favourite guitar in all the world. It's a 1977 Gibson copy from Japan. You know, the ones that were illegal, that got the copyright ones. It weighs a fucking ton, right? Yeah. It's not chambered, you know, but it only allows me to play blues on it. I pick it up, I'll try to play so heavy on it, you ain't having it. Like it's not gonna do it. It is not gonna do it. Whereas I pick up my Ibanez, I've got a couple of Ibanez's, a couple of ESPs. Plug them in and it wants to wail. It wants to right, but pick up the other one and it's like, no, I've got to slowly play in this E, and I'm going to go to the extension. I'm going to, you know what I mean? Like it's same as my bass.
It's telling you what to do.
Yes, I've got a '72 Fender Jazz.
Oh, boss!
Oof. And I paid a buck for it.
Yeah. What?
Yeah. A friend of mine was going back to the UK and didn't want it anymore. He goes, but if you give me $1, we've made a transaction. So yeah, it's $1.
What?
Yeah.
And nothing wrong with it?
No, he just sat in his cupboard. He also gave me, listen to this, I don't have it anymore. I had to give it back to him. He gave me this huge Spider amp, right? Fuck off, 200 watt amp. If I plugged it in, my windows blew out, right? It was a massive amp. And he rings me up and he goes, look, can I get that Spider back off you? And I'm like, yeah, you can have it, man. He goes, I said, why? He goes, oh, because the guys that made it, this was made for AC/DC. And yeah. And he goes, the guy that made all the ones for AC/DC, they're all smashed. And the guy who's he's going to die soon, he wants it back. And I'm like, yeah, fuck it, he can have it, mate. Like, take it back.
Yeah.
It's like, was it like not worthy?
Was it one of them like glass? Some of them have glass in, don't they? The old ones, like glass valve sort of thing.
It was a glass valve. It was unbelievable. Wow. I didn't want to go near the back of it because it was open, and I thought I'd just get myself a shock. Yeah. But I used to put it on like half. And the windows go.
See, that's. Do you know what? The one thing I've never owned is an amp. Never owned an amp, because when I was in the band, I was a front man. I was just sung. I mean, I always played, I always wrote, but it was all acoustic. And obviously, like we were talking about before, that it makes more sense if you've got an interface. And a Mac or whatever else.
Now
to just plug into your interface and press what pedal you want and go away. Because I could play that, because some of the, especially the that Cantrell guitar, I could play that up here in the attic till about 4 a.m, no one would dare a peep, because it's just such a beautiful thing. Whereas the Epiphone's hollow body, so it's more or less a semi-acoustic, so that's gonna, the neighbours will be banging and stuff, but.
That's why I want a drum kit, but I'll keep saying I might get myself an electric one, then they won't hear me.
Yeah, I wanted one of those. You know what I bought myself? Aeroband, they're called. Air sticks.
Yes.
And there's an app, and they're all right, but they're not amazing.
You don't get there's no feedback, is there?
No, but you don't get the feedback, no, but you can, because I set up pillows around me in the shape of a drum kit, and then I'm hitting something and it was working, but then I read somewhere that said you will break them if you do this, because it needs the whip.
That takes me back to my childhood. When I was a child, my mum's knitting needles. I had the thickest ones. I'd take all the cushions off all the chairs. I'd sit in the middle of the room. I'd put my brother's, because I had lots of brothers, and I'd put on their record. I wasn't allowed to play their records, but I'd get, say, like The Who. I'd put The Who on, and they'd all be at the house, and I'd be like, I'd be Keith Moon, you know, like, and I even had cymbals. I had like a dish, like my mum's metal dishes. It's one of those things you used to do. Like, tell kids that, they go, fuck it, I wouldn't do that. I'm like, yeah, man, sort of did.
This is the thing, pillows. That's your drums.
How many times did I use I even had a tennis racket which I taped off to have so I could have frets on it.
Amazing. I mean, that's so good. No strings though, but still frets.
I was just air playing, but I was like, yeah, okay, like I'm captain.
It needs to look legit. Slazenger across the middle.
It's so funny. It was my brother's black electrical tape, and I put dots on, and I just like, yeah, okay. And I try and work out chords without having actually a guitar. Like,
that's so good. It's like when you've got Wimbledon at 4 and a gig at 5. It's like that's it. What you need.
My very first guitar I picked up in an Oxfam shop in Golders Green in North London. It had no pickups in it. It was £5. My brother bought it for me. It was some fucking unknown brand I've never heard of. Beautiful thing though, right?
Yeah.
Solid body, neck through neck. And my brother went, I said, I've got no pickups. He goes, don't worry, I'll get you some. So he went and cadged some off someone and wired them in for me because he's an electrician.
Yeah.
And was like, but I've got it to play on. He goes, I'll get an amp. So I got this amp, this Orbital Stage 1, right? It's fucking really 60s, shitty 60s amp that was valve. Yeah. And he goes, oh, no. Well, one of the valves blew. He goes, oh, no. I'll wire it up to be a solid state. I know what I'm doing. It blew up. I put the thing, I turned it on, and
wow.
He went, that shouldn't have happened. No, it's gone.
I like that. That shouldn't have happened. Okay, then, sound.
It's gone.
We'll crack on. That's amazing.
I played it like probably once, and then I went, switched it on. It went bang.
Oh God, it's an interesting thing. The whole. Like my mate, who's like really good on the guitar, really like much better. I'm a best. As I say, I don't use a pick, so I finger pick. Like generally, I like all sorts of music. So I'm currently getting into Americana, and the only reason being is that I had when you have like a random Spotify, your playlist ends and then it plays what you think you want to hear.
Yeah.
A song came on, and now what caught me, and I thought, wow, this is interesting. The song beforehand was, I can't even, what's the guy's name? Something Ronk. Anyway, this guy is from the 60s. Apparently he taught Bob Dylan how to play the guitar.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
And the following song came on, and it sounded like it was the same era, but this song was from last year. And I was like, what? And they were both great songs, and I was like, "What is this style?" Because it's not blues. Well, it is blues, but it's not blues, and it's not country, but it is country, and it's not like gothic southern, but it is gothic southern, and it's this weird, and the very few. It's a weird sort of. I'm not saying it's a. I'm overarching it genre-wise saying Americana because it's kind of. Some of it is, some of it isn't.
Right, yeah.
But there's a very specific set list that I'm kind of like putting together of these songs, which they're all dark. Do you know what I mean? It's like none of them are, I mean, I think it's because I'm from that grunge era. So let's put something depressing on, hooray! Yay! And they're all like, everyone's killing themselves in every song, sort of thing.
Dogs are dying and cars are breaking.
Exactly. Down. Yeah, exactly. But some of them, going back to saying just before we started recording, we were talking about like, the state of recording and stuff like that. Some of them, one of them anyway, is a guy he sings a song called Clay Pigeons, and he Blaze Foley, his name is, and he's dead now by all accounts. But on one of his recordings, you hear his dog like whining in the background, as he's playing, and it kind of makes it because
it's why I like blues. It just has that rawness to it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And I think like Peter Green doing Ramblin' Pony.
Oh,
that's that's a similar sort of. It's got that same vibe to it. You know, that sort of. All you need is an acoustic guitar, a foot stomping, and someone with a slider, and just go away with it. And stuff like that blows me away. You know.
Finger picking style guitar though, because I mean, one of my heroes, Jeff Beck, right? He only finger picked. You know, Mark Knopfler. That's what he uses his fingers.
Yeah, you know, that's ridiculous for Mark Knopfler.
I know, watch him playing, right? But
exactly. Yeah.
Interesting about Spotify playlist. I did a whole episode on this because it happened to me. I was, okay, so I enjoy, like, I love the darker side of life, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I like the deliciousness of the sort of juxtaposition of things, right? So I'm putting Christmas lights on outside the house, but I'm listening to extreme Norwegian death metal, right? You know, like it's that, and I'm also Jewish, so it's like this, like it's this fabulous like juxtaposition. But the other day I was doing some, like last year I was doing some DIY in the house, put the Spotify on. I'm a big Billy Bragg fan. So I'm listening to Billy Bragg. I'm enjoying it and going through all of his thing. And he does that country phase thing, right? No, I don't listen to country. I don't listen to country. It's not my thing, right? But I had to go out and I forgot it was still playing. I come back and my whole algorithm was country.
Wow.
Like,
that's
my
brilliant.
God, I forgot my algorithm. It took me ages to get it back.
See, that's the weird thing is that my dad was a Hank Williams fan.
So my father was. So was my father. Yep.
Yeah, and like literally, like his funeral song was "Feeling Call the Blues," you know, and therefore when he got me my first guitar when I was 15, which was an Araya, and I've still got it, and it's
nice.
And the first song I learned on it was "Catch the Wind," Donovan, because he said learn "Catch the Wind," and I went okay, and learned it anyway. But it was a really nice Dreadnought acoustic Araya, and then I moved out of this house and I bought, you know, lived my life, and then he obviously passed away in June, and I moved into this house, and I went into Curly's, which is a music shop in Liverpool, and I haven't seen an Araya since the one I own, and there they had a second-hand red semi-acoustic Araya that I'd never seen the likes of before. It's like half width. Acoustic.
Really?
Yeah, and it's not. There's no batteries required for the pickup side of things.
Right.
I've never seen anything like it. It's beautiful, and it just seemed meant. And it was like 120 quid. And I instantly got it. I'm looking at it now. It's gorgeous, and I thought, you know, it was like sort of serendipitous. I thought, you know what? It's weird that the first guitar I played was in this house, and it was an Araya. And when I moved back into this house, the first guitar I'm going to strum is an Araya.
Oh, how fantastic is that?
You know what I mean? Yeah, and I was like, and obviously they don't make Arayas anymore, and they were renowned for being. Yeah,
I had several. I had an Araya bass. I had a Flying V one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I had a mint green Flying V. I had to sell it to pay for a bill, which is like, you know.
Yeah.
Horrendous.
Every musician's been in that.
Oh, you know, and the very first guitar my brother ever bought me, and he bought me lots of instruments because he was really behind what I was doing. He bought me an Araya, a black one with 3 pickups and big whammy bar on it, and I was like, I thought I was Van Halen, you know. I wasn't, of course, but you know,
and then used the whammy bar once, and then everything started shooting.
I can't do that anymore. Thank you. That's enough.
Yeah. Save it for the last note.
Yeah. I got one. I've got a one with a Floyd on it, a Floyd Rose. Top-notch, floating trim. I fucking hate it. I can't use it. Yep, I cannot use it. You see people going, woo, wow, doing all these amazing things. I go, clink, and I went, no, let's just stay there.
Yeah,
so I blocked it.
Yeah, I had one copy Strat, and which had a whammy bar, and I unscrewed it.
It put you out of tune. It puts it out of tune.
It does, yeah.
Because the very first guitar my parents ever bought me, you'll know this because you're an Englishman, right? They bought it from the catalogue. Yeah. In the mail, right? Bought it from the catalogue. It's black and white Fender copy. Every time I used the trem, it would go down a step. Yeah. And Mum paid one payment on that guitar because the company went out of business. So I got it for free.
I tell you what, you get some free guitars, you
walk into them, right? I don't have it anymore because you know what I did? I spray painted it. You know, like when you're a teenager, Stupid idiot. I took all the bits off, spray painted it, put funky pickups in, and it just ruined it, mate. It just...
Mate, you're saying when you're a teenager, literally 2 weeks ago, I bought a Fender acoustic, and it's only a box standard Dreadnought sort of thing, like 130 quid, something. I was bored the other day, so decided to take a fucking a dart, as in like a dart you throw in a board, and start thinking of Tony Hart.
That's the end of part one of this mammoth conversation with the legend that is Kevin Eustace, all the way in the UK. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you had a good Christmas. Next one will be out on New Year's Day, so we'll chat then, and we'll find out what Kevin did to his guitar, and many other things. Anyway, bye for now. Keep safe.
Have you been to the Great Wolf Lodge that's nearby? We took our kids last weekend and they won't stop talking about it. There's a huge indoor water park that's always 84 degrees, and they have dozens of other family activities like a ropes course, bowling, and more. It's the perfect getaway. It's so close, we literally hopped in the car and we were there in no time. We all had a blast and we barely had to do any planning. So if you have a free weekend coming up, now's the time to book a trip to the Perryville Lodge just outside of Baltimore. Or if you're in the Virginia area, check out the Lodge in Williamsburg. Head to greatwolf.com to book your stay today.